All right, so we have Coach Pitino here with us now. We'll get right into questions. As a reminder, please send a message in the chat if you would like to ask Coach Pitino a question. With that said, we will start off with Marcus Fuller.
Coach, Marcus walked off the floor. Obviously, he was very emotional. He's been the type of player that always comes through in the end of games, and he did it for the third straight game here. I mean, what can you say about a player like him in his career here?
Yeah, a terrific player. I wish we were healthy because I really feel like if we were healthy that, it would have been a little bit easier on him. He earned every point that he had. And it was just grit. It was toughness. It was will. He has that. He never had a bad day, never felt sorry for himself, came to practice, came to work every day. So his future is very bright. I hope the world somewhat goes back to normal so that he can do NBA workouts and, really get some good feedback to see where he'll be. But, that would be, 3 years in a row to get players in the NBA. So that would be something we'd be proud of and we're pulling for him.
Next, we'll go over to Andy Greeter.
Richard, what did you say to the guys in the locker room after the game?
Said, hold your head high. You guys fought, you fought till the end, and that's what you got to do in March. It's win or go home. You made some unbelievable plays down the stretch. You put yourself in a position to get a win. Underman. It's really hard, when you take two very important players off the roster and they didn't feel sorry for themselves and they went out there and scratched and clawed and left it all out there.
Next question will come from John Krasinski.
Hey, Richard, I mean, I know that you don't want to make excuses or anything like that. Every team has injuries, but do you just have to, is it hard not to think about what this team could have done given the wins you had early, if you guys were full strength and ready to go here? Yeah.
And I don't want to offend anybody by talking about it, but it's not, you say everybody has injuries. Well, no, our guys missed games, you know what I mean? Like a bunch of games. I think we saw when healthy what we could be. Didn't mean that we were going to go undefeated when we were healthy, but we tied a school record for ranked wins. We had some great wins versus some really good teams when healthy. But part of the game, and it just is what it is. But it is really hard when you take key guys out of the lineup, not just hobbled like Brandon and Booth were, but we take key guys out of the lineup. But I was proud of them yesterday. I'm proud of them today to keep fighting through that.
Daniel House, over to you.
Richard, you had 16 offensive boards and 20 second chance points tonight. What did you think of your team's effort on the glass and some of the young front court guys?
Terrific. I thought Brandon was really hurting in the second half and he was in foul trouble. So we went with Isaiah. I thought he was great. He's got that length, which was really good. Brandon obviously battling through pain with that ankle and with that back. He was clearly hobbled. But when you're undermanned like that, you got to scratch, you got to claw. So some of those offensive rebounds gave us a chance, because we're clearly not a great shooting team. And so we have to be able to get second chance opportunities. We have to be able to turn them over 15 times like we did as well.
Andy Greeter, back to you.
Richard, what's the immediate plan here going forward? Obviously, fly home. Do you plan on meeting with Mark, and what do you plan to express to him?
I plan on going back to the hotel, getting packed and kind of figuring out what time we're leaving. I haven't really thought that far in advance, to be honest with you. So, like I said, I'm proud of these guys. That was a great effort. I don't know what the future holds. I've been very transparent with you guys, and life will go on, regardless, and we'll all be okay. So, we'll see. We'll see where it all goes.
Next question will come from Darren Wolfson.
Richard, considering the injuries, is it unfair for all this chatter about your future when you know what this team could have been if you don't suffer those injuries?
Doogie, the one thing, I don't know if I'm the greatest coach in the world or whatever, but the one thing I've never done when I've been here is make excuses and talk about what's fair or not fair. I tell my players all the time, life's not fair. So I don't get into what's fair and what's not. I really don't. Obviously this year was extremely unique with the pandemic, extremely unique. And then obviously our injuries as well, but I'm not concerned with fair. That's never been my MO, and it will never be my MO.
Marcus Fuller, back over to you.
Coach, we know the future's uncertain for everyone, but for the kids that maybe come back next year. What do you hope that they learn from the end of this season? Adversity, I mean, how they fought through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think every roster in the country, every coach is just wondering what's going to happen with their rosters because, you know, when the NCAA tells all the players, hey, you get a year back, that's very, very unique. That never happened before. So I think everybody's going to have to get together, let the dust settle a little bit, let the season end, and then have some conversations with all the players. Everybody's got to figure out what they want to do. You know, I mean, there's that one-time transfer rule lingering, which a lot of people don't know about. You know, college sports is in transition, not to mention the pandemic. So I think everybody's going to have to kind of figure out what to do. And so for all those guys, you know, do what's best for you. You know, make sure you continue to work, continue to get better. That should never, ever stop.
At this moment, I haven't received any additional question requests. So if there are any final requests, please put them in the chat at this time. And with that said, we'll go right to Jim Rich.
Coach, when you look at this situation of your future and everything, does it bother you that all this talk is out there and it's been swirling around, or, you know, is it just, you know, what your relationship is with Mark over all these years, that you've got a good read with each other and, you know, you'll just discuss where it goes from there, or where are you at right now personally?
I'm in a coach's locker room right now in Indianapolis.
It looks lovely.
Yeah, it's really nice. Not a lot bothers me, Jim. I mean, I don't, what do I do? Talk my way into things. That's not what I do. You know, I have respect for authority, you know, I mean, and that's really it. So not my decision. I'm not going to go in there with a list of things. Hey, this is it's not the way it works. We all have bosses. That's okay. I do have a great relationship with Mark. If he gives me some bad news, that doesn't mean that we're going to, you know, I'm going to flip a desk or anything. Like, life goes on, you know, I mean, life goes on. I respect authority. I respect tough decisions. I don't worry about life being fair or not. I really don't. I try to pour my heart and soul into it. I try to be a good guy. I try to be a good mentor and see where it all goes. So we all got a long life to live. And, you know, would I love to be back? Of course I'd love to be back. Not my decision.
And last question will come from Marcus Fuller.
Thank you for being fair with us.
Coach, this program has been, you know, like you've said, to the NCAA tournament a couple times in 4 years. And last year, you know, it ended early in the pandemic. What are you most proud of this team this season, going through all that it went through? And then also just, you know, some of the guys that, like a Gabe and Liam, that maybe didn't get to finish it out.
Well, I think you just saw the last couple of minutes of the game. Most proud of that. I mean, I'm really proud of when we were healthy, 5 ranked wins. I mean, we blew out Michigan. We blew out Ohio State. We blew out Michigan State when healthy. You know, we had a really fun win versus Iowa, a great win versus Purdue. And then the injuries hit. But I'm proud of the fact, the way that we performed versus in Indianapolis. We gutted it out last night, played great defense. We gutted it out today. We just came up a little bit short.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll pick up with players in just a few moments here with Marcus Carr and Eric Curry.
Sully, I'm just going to mute and I'll be back with players.
Sounds good. Thank you, Paul.
Be joined by with Eric Curry first.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, so as Paul just said, we'll be starting off with Eric Curry this afternoon. We'll get right into questions for Eric just as soon as the first one comes through via the chat. Still waiting for the first question to come through via the chat for Eric. Marcus Fuller, start us off, please. Thank you.
Eric, can you talk about just the guys going off the floor there? You know, this team may or may not be all together, you know, next year. Can you talk about just that moment for you guys?
as we was leaving the court, as we got in the locker room after the game, we just tried to keep our heads up high because we know we fought back and we gave our all. So we knew we gave each other our best at the end of fighting back and making that game close. So we tried to keep positive spirits after the game.
Next, we'll go over to Darren Wolfson.
Eric, just take us through your emotions. Your basketball career, as you know, it is now over.
It ain't really hit me yet, but so I'm not too emotional right now, but I know it's gonna hit me soon. But I don't even know what to say. Like when the buzzer went off, I started thinking about it. Like this is my last time wearing a Minnesota jersey or basketball jersey ever, but I ain't really thought about it yet.
Next, we'll go over to Daniel House.
Eric, what are you most proud of as you look back on your career with the Gophers?
Helping the guys, me sitting out those years and being able to be a player's coach. Coach used to call me. Just being able to help him and be another voice, especially in guys like Daniel Laturu's ear, helping those guys and my guy Amir, just helping those guys to see. That was probably my proudest moments here.
I'm still waiting for additional questions for Eric to come through the chat. So if there are remaining questions for Eric, please put them in the chat at this time. With that said, we'll go back to Marcus Fuller.
Eric, you talked about the Daniels and the Amirs. I mean, those are guys that you know, they chose to stay home and turn this program around. You know, I'm sure they look back at this program. They'll continue to look back and wanting to get to another level. When you leave, where do you hope to see this program in the near future, no matter what happens with Coach Pitino or not?
I hope this program goes to another level. I hope we one day Minnesota is considered one of those top programs in the country, like the Michigans and the Michigan States in this league. I just hope they can rise and keep rising and be the best they can be.
And again, I haven't received any other questions for Eric. Looks like we do have one more. Daniel House, we'll go over to you for the next question.
Eric, guys like Sam and Isaiah saw a lot more time at the end of the year. How much growth did you notice from them as they saw more minutes?
I saw growth within Sam all year. I know he just ain't been able to showcase with the minutes he played all year, but Sam has really helped his game and worked on his game a lot. He improved a lot this season. Isaiah has improved a lot as well with his confidence, and it's just going to keep building. They're young guys. They're still young, 20 and below, I think. I think they're 20 and below or 20 on the dot, but they're just going to keep growing. And I'm proud of them, and they'll keep working. I know them.
And the last question for Eric Curry will come from Darren Wolfson.
Eric, if we have some news here in the next 24 to 48 hours or even into next week that Mark Coyle has relieved Richard Pitino of his duties, would you understand why?
I don't really want to get into all that. That's not my. I don't want to really talk about that.
All right, Eric, that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for your time. Wrap up here in just a few moments with Marcus Carr.
All right, Sully, we have Marcus here.
Thank you, Paul. All right, so we'll wrap up today with Marcus Carr, and we'll get right into questions for Marcus just as soon as the first request rolls through via the chat. And it looks like we will begin with Marcus Fuller.
Marcus, what did it mean? You know, I think Coach Holtman came up and said something to you. A lot of the guys just coming off the court were talking to you. I mean, a lot of respect for what you've done with the Gophers and you know, your career. What did that mean to you to hear from everyone?
You know, basketball is a super competitive sport, and I feel like, you know, whenever there's high-level competitors who kind of see that, you know, each team or each guy just wants it, and you know, we kind of just respect each other for that. So there's kind of just a mutual respect. So yeah, I guess it does mean a lot to have my peers respect and other coaches respect, and just always looking to play that way, and the respect definitely goes both ways.
Next, we will go to John Krasinski.
Hey, Marcus, I wonder if today was kind of indicative of this team season. Just, you're shorthanded, but you kept fighting all the way to the end. Just what did you think about the competitiveness that you all showed, even, in the face of tough circumstances with a couple of guys out?
Yeah, kind of like you said, it's been that way for the latter part of the season. I'm proud of the guys and the way that we fought. Obviously we didn't get the result that we wanted, but still proud of the guys.
Next, we will go to Andy Greeter.
Marcus, we saw you yesterday kind of tap on your wrist, and we saw it again today. Was that just, a real literal sign of the clock is ticking and you didn't have much time to make plays down the stretch?
No, it's more of like one of my favorite players right now in the NBA is Damian Lillard. And he's pretty much known for just making plays down the stretch and hitting big shots. And whenever he does, he kind of does that tap on his wrist. So to me, when I'm doing that, it's more of just, me telling myself like it's that time and, I got to come through.
Darren Wolfson, over to you.
Marcus, is it hard not to think about what could have been if Liam doesn't get hurt, if Gabe doesn't get hurt? Like, you think about the win against Michigan in January, the win against Ohio State back in January, just what could have been this year?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to dwell on, things that, I can't control. Try to just focus on the things that I can control. It was, very unfortunate, huge blow to our team when they got hurt. And, we definitely would have been in a very different position if they didn't. But, that's just what happened. That was life. And it was unfortunate. But, we still had to make the adjustments and go out there and play.
Next question will come from Jim Rich.
Marcus, now that it's all over and all the work you did, your decision to come back this year, when you look at this year, will you go, yeah, this was the right move to come back and play here again this year, even though you're, not going to the NCAAs, your work here and what you accomplished this season was pretty remarkable. Are you pretty happy with how this all played out?
Not necessarily. I think we had a lot of great moments throughout this season. I'm definitely proud of those moments, but I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish coming back, which was going to the tournament and winning the Big Ten and different things like that. So as far as personal success really wasn't that important to me. I wanted to come back and be a winner, and the circumstances happened and it just didn't end up that way.
Obi Artigue, over to you.
Marcus, it seemed like over the last few games of the season, today, another one where it seemed like you were getting double teamed a lot more and facing a lot more pressure. Was that probably the toughest stretch of basketball that you've played in your career?
Yeah, 100%. I've always been around teams where, that wasn't always the case. So it was definitely, an adjustment I had to make throughout the last games of the season. That was definitely tough for me, and just trying to find different ways to, still be effective, still get my guys going and get myself going as well. So, that's definitely an experience that I appreciate and will forever bring with me. And, I feel like will make me better as a player, but definitely was tough.
All right. And at this time, I have not received any additional question requests from Marcus. So with that said, Marcus, thank you very much for your time. Same goes to everyone else. Thank you for taking the time to hop on with him today. Have a good rest of your Thursday.
Thanks, Sully. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Sully. Thanks, Paul.
This
Thank you.
In the digital press. I appreciate all. Thanks. I know Sully does too. We'll put it in the digital press box. Everyone can download it as soon as I get it. So hopefully everyone follows Gopher baseball. Sully will be taking that all weekend. So give them a shot, guys. See everyone.
See everyone.